Hi all. This is our third session on time series modeling and signal processing. So in here, what we are going to discuss is basically forecasting model in time series called ARIMA model. So autoregressive moving average model with integration. So in order to get into this ARIMA model, you should have a background idea on what is AR model as well as what is MA model. The name implies that AR model is autoregressive model and MA is for moving average models. First, let's look at what is autoregressive model or AR model. So in this autoregressive model is a time series model where you can forecast or predict the next time step based on previous time steps, the data available on previous time steps. So I think you all are familiar with linear regression, right? In here, I have mentioned this linear regression. So in linear regression, what is there actually? Basically, y equal mx plus c. So if we draw this in xy plane, then what you can see is something like this. Right? In here, this place is for C and the slope of this line is M. Then you can calculate the Y for given X. This is actually a simple linear regression model, right? So what happened? X equal to 0, then Y is equal to C, which means the Bayer term. So like here in this equation, you can see y hat equal mx plus b, which is representing the linear regression model. Then what if about a multiple linear regression model? So if we go with like this, suppose y, you are comparing, for example, suppose as example, like this. Suppose there is a data set, right? There is a data set. Suppose there is a data set. Then you have a house price, right? House price. There are number of houses given city. Then we have some house prices. Suppose 2000 USD. Then suppose 5,000 USD. Okay, I just think. Then suppose 7K and 1K, something like that. They have mentioned their price of their houses based on, suppose, the year that they have built their house, or the age of the house. For example, suppose age of the house would be something like this. Suppose 5,000K one is would be, suppose, very newly built one. Suppose 1 year, it's old only 1 year. Then this is very latest, just built, it's 0 years. So suppose 0.5 years, something like that, 0.5. Then this is somewhat very old, suppose 10 years. And 2001 is, suppose it's 5 years, something like that. In that scenario, what we can see is, we can represent this as our previous slide, right, in this linear regression model, right? So because there is one variable which affect to the dependent variable y, only the age of the house. But what if there are multiple variables which are affecting to the price? Actually, there are multiple, right? Not only the age of the house, but also there are multiple, like square feet of the house, and the proximity of the house to the city, and it is very close by to the main road. There are multiple, right? In that case, actually, we are unable to just model this regression based on only a one variable. Instead, we have to go with multiple variable. In that scenario, we have to go with something like, suppose W1, there is X1, then W2 and X2, and there can be multiple. Then Wn, Xn plus the bias term, right? Something like that. In that scenario, we are unable to go with like a simple linear regression model, but we have to go with multiple linear regression model. So why did I discuss this linear regression when we are discussing this auto regression model? Because there are some similarities actually. So for example, you can read this one. Auto regression is a time series model that uses observation from previous time steps as input to a regression equation to predict the value at the next time step. So actually, we can write this auto regression model like this. Yt, actually, instead of I hat, I'm predicting the next time interval, sorry, next time step, Yt, there is error term or whatever bias. Then we have alpha 1, Yt minus 1. It says that previous time steps based on the previous times. Then plus alpha 2, Y sub t minus 2, alpha 3, Y sub t minus 3, and so on. Then there is a noise as well. Because in this model, actually, once you suppose like this, So if you draw a XY plane, right? Then this would be the regression line, but our data point could be like this, right? Here, 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 there, some here, itself, here, here. All around, right? Then this equation or this line representing the general one, but there are some deviations, right? There are some deviation. You can see like here, you see some deviation. Then from here to here, deviation. Here to here, deviation. Here to here, deviation. Something like that. Then once it come to here, there are noise component as well, right? Error component, noise component, right? Then that's what I mentioned them. B is for bias term and E epsilon T is noise. And this error term is actually normally distributed. Error term is normally distributed, right? Sorry for this. Yeah. It is normally distributed actually with zero mean and sigma x guard variance. Then in this model, past data point are used to predict the next point. In other words, input would be the past data point in the time series. That's what I say, that there are similarities in multiple linear regression as well as this auto-regression model, where in multiple linear regression, we have multiple variables, separate variables. Then there is somewhat of a dependency between this variable, among this variable as well as the dependent variable or y hat. Likewise, once it come to in our domain, like time series domain, there is a dependency between the next time step as well as previous time steps, right? Then just read the second point. The model uses the past p data points to predict the next value. Then model is called ARP, autoregressive model of order p, which means the p represent the number of time steps that you are going to use in order to predict the next time point, right? If it is a sequence, right? If it is a sequence, if it is a sequence like this, sorry for that. Just then right, like this. Then this could be T1, T2, and this could be suppose T in and like this. Then if you want to predict T n plus 1, then P represents the number of previous data points, that you are going to use to predict the T n plus 1, right? That is the order P. Then in the auto regression model, what you have to think is how many number of data points that you are going to use to predict the next time point, time step, that is called the order P, the number of previous time step, that is order P, right? So that's the simply the autoregression model or autoregressive model, where we are using set of previous time points or time step in order to predict the next time point, next time step. Then we will discuss how do we decide this P value and other things. But roughly, in order to get the initial understanding of what is autoregressive model and what is this parameter P, this is the story behind it, right? You can simply think of that this is a multiple linear regression model, right? Simply, right? It's like a multiple linear regression model where we have bias term as well as noise. Don't forget it, as well as noise, because noise always there. Because in the very first lecture in our series, I mentioned that this is a stochastic process. In any stochastic process, actually there is a noise, right? Then that noise in this autoregressive model, the noise is normally distributed with constant variance, right? And it depends on previous data points. Then you have to decide what the number of previous data points that you are going to use to model the autoregressive, right? Okay, then let's see what is this moving average. Actually, we discussed this, right, in last lecture as well. But don't get confused, this moving average is totally different from that previous moving average, right? So in here, it's simply say, you can see in here, MA within bracket Q, moving average of order Q. Previously, autoregressive model of order P, in here moving average model of order Q. Then both scenarios, we have some parameters, right? In autoregressive model P, in the moving average model, it's Q, right? Then the very first thing I mentioned in here, this is not similar to simple moving average or exponential moving average that we have discussed in the previous lecture. This is separate thing, right? Right. Let's go with this point one by one. First one is the moving average depends on the past errors, not on the past data of the time series. It depends on the past errors. What is the error? Error in the sense, the deviation of actual to predicted, right? The deviation, like this sigma term, not sorry, epsilon term, right? The noise, that's the error component, right? We are expecting 5, but we are predicting 5, but the actual value is 4. Then the deviation is 1. Then in other circumstances, like we are predicting 10, but the actual value is 2a. Then the absolute value of error is 2, something like that. Then the moving average totally depend on the errors, but not the past data points. But in the autoregressive model, it depends on past data point. Right now, we are discussing some another aspect that is called moving average with the order Q. It says that it depend on next value depend on previous one, depend on previous error terms. It is also a linear function of fast error terms. It's simply, you can imagine it, right? Simply happen. In order to calculate error terms, previous predicted and actual value should be available in the term series. It's obvious, right? The output Y depend on past Q number of error terms. In here, as previous autoregressive model, there is a parameter called P. In here, it's Q. Then you can simply imagine the Q is the number of past data points that you are going to use in this model. Then in here, you can see, I'm not going to explain further this again and again. It's simply the previous one. C is error or bias term. Then error component, as in here, this term, right? This term, epsilon t. Then theta 1, epsilon t minus 1, theta 2, epsilon t minus 2, up to theta q, epsilon sub t minus q. Where epsilon is noise, it's normally distributed the simply. Then what are the similarities and what are the distinguish of these two approach? First one is autoregression model or autoregressive model with order P, where we are using past data, or we are utilizing past data to predict the next step of this time series. Then the P represent the number of data points that you are going to use in order to model this sequence. In the moving average model, where we are discussing about the error terms instead of that actual data points, where we are calculating the difference between these two data points, not two values, actually expected value, sorry, predicted value and actual value. Then based on that, we are modeling this in order to predict the next value of this time series. That's called moving average. There also we are calculating number of past error terms, which is represented by the Q, right? Then our main focus in here to reach the ARIMA model. The ARIMA model, there we have AR plus MA, and in between that there is the term called I. We still far away from it. Then let's see what happened once we merge this existing model, two models together. One is AR and other one is MA. Then that's called ARMA model. Someone is pronouncing it as ARMA model or whatever. AR, MA model is the combination of AR and MA models. Simply it represents the relationship of past data points and error terms to predict the next value of the time series. Actually, it's good, right? Because instead just depending on past data or past errors, the combining these two together would be greater, right? Would be much advanced, because then we have the exactly what happened in the previous data based on that past data in the autoregressive model. Then we have somewhat of idea what happened previously, what we expected or what we predicted and what actually happened, the deviation. Then based on that, we can actually fine tune or get somewhat of understanding about the variation of predicted value, right? Because epsilon or noise is the variation where we predicting something but actually something else. Then if we have set of data with respect to this noise, actually we can get somewhat of idea what happened next, right? Then if you can get idea about the past data and we are going to predict past data, then we have somewhat of idea about the variance, then we can actually get somewhat of better understanding on the next data point. That's what called going to do with ARMA model. Then in the ARMA model, there are two parameters, P and Q, because we are combining autoregressive model as well as moving average model together. Then AR order P plus MA order Q. Then the equation would be like this. Then this is actually what is called autoregressive part, and this is moving average part, right? Actually, no need to add twice this epsilon. Sorry for that, because we are adding it to here, right? One noise term is quite enough because we can add them together, and just keeping it is also fine. No need to worry. And the B is bias, so that's the ARMA model. Then once we are combining this together, it's good actually, but we can insert some another term called I, integrated part, in between this AR and MA model, because I said AR and MA model combined together. The way of combining is a matter, right? whether we are adding it or whether we are subtracting it or whether we are differentiating it or multiplication of them or whatever. The integration part is crucial, or it's a key point. Then the ARMA model, ARMA model is enhanced with the term or component called I, which is represented by I, is called integrated part. Then it become autoregressive integrated moving average, ARIMA, autoregressive integrated moving average, where the integrated part I is placed in between AR model and MA model. We will discuss them, right? We will discuss what is this I component, how do we go with the P component, how do we go with the Q component, what is AR, MA, and everything we are discussing. Just focus your attention to here what is happening behind the scene, right? Okay. Then the third point, and I within bracket D process is a process that is stationary after difference in D times. What is that? Then it's called integrated to order D. That is the tricky place you want to get understand better, right? And I within bracket D, previously it says that there is no any other parameter, but it seems like a parameter, right? When it come to this ARIMA model, D is a parameter, that's right. But it is not within the integrated part itself. That's what it's mentioning, right? So, right, let's think what is this I, right? You all are familiar with stationary, right? Stationary in the sense there is no any trend, no seasonality. The removing seasonality and trending component is called the process of stationary process. Once you are removing them, the process is basically stationary. In order to test it, we have several tests like augmented Dickey-Fuller test and rolling statistic approach and things like that. Then differencing also we discuss. What is the differencing? We lag the sequence by some time steps. For example, our original time series is t plus 1, t plus 2, t plus 3, 3 plus blah 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 tn. Then you can subtract that initial time step t1 minus t2, t2 minus 3, t3 minus t4 and things like that. Then you can generate another time series. Then the differencing is 1. The differencing is 1. You differentiate the time series by 1 step. Likewise. Then the number of differencing is represented by this term D. Term D is representing the number of differencing. Right? Then if you difference in the time series by 1, D become 1. If you are differencing the time series by 2, D become 2. Likewise. Okay. Then ARIMA, PDQ, AR with P, I with D, MA with Q. Right. Then you can focus on this slide. ARIMA PDQ is just a model where time series difference D times before applying the ARMA model, right? Before applying the ARMA model, you are differencing the time series by D time so that it becomes ARIMA model. Autoregressive integrated moving average, just differencing, right? Right. Then just keep on your eye in these areas. ARIMA P00 or ARMA P0 is ARP process. What it says in here in the ARIMA model, if I term and Q term become 0, there is only available P term. Then all I and MA is vanished, then it become automatically auto-regressive process. That's what previously I didn't model anything using AR model, because once we discuss ARIMA model, we can model underneath everything. Then second one, ARIMA with 0, Q parameter, which means it is a moving average model. Because AR is 0, integrated is 0, then automatically it become moving average process with the order Q. Then the third one, ARIMA 0, 1, 0 is integrated by 1, and this is a random walk, where y is equal to only the noise at time t. What is that? Random walk. Most of you are familiar with this. I know that because you all have background in statistics as well. Then a random walk is simulating a actually drunken person. Like suppose a drunken person, how he's behaving. Suppose he's drunk and he want to walk his home. In that case, he first go to one step in the left side, then again go to the right side, again left or left twice, then come back to right, like that. It is fluctuating. It's going here and there, right? It is not the straight line, most probably the drunken person, right? So that's representing with the random walk, which means the next step would be random. Suppose your current step, you are moving suppose north, but you don't know what happened in the next step. It probably would not be to the north, but it can be, but there is a probability. Then it would be some, suppose northeast or west or south, whatever, right? Then that's the random walk, right? Like this. So suppose like this. Suppose if you go with the XY plane again, suppose in that drunken person in the very first time, he would be here. Then that's t equal 1, right? Then next time he go here, then t equal 2. Then the path would be like this. Then that t3, again he comes here like this. Then it path here. Then at t4, he comes here further. Then he turn again to here, suppose. Then this is actually a random walk. Random walk. Say the person, suppose the person is here, he don't know where he would go. It could be here as well, right? It could be here. It could be even here. We don't know. Then it actually in this range. Right? In range. Actually go further here as well. Right? But I'm not considering that negative values in here, because like actually in the work actually we can consider, but right now just don't think on that side. Then actually it could be anywhere, right? It could be anywhere. We just know we are going to next time step. That only we know. Then at that time, in this simulation path or in this path, he is here, but there is a probability he can be here as well. He could be here as well, right? That is called random walk. There is some probability. Actually, there is a probability to be in here, to be in here, but he already become been in here, right? That's called random walk, simply. Then the next time also he can be here as well. Instead of this place, he can be here as well. These are called trajectories, right? Then that's called actually that delta yt is totally depend on the noise. What is that noise? Because if you exactly know what is happening next, there is nothing to predict, right? There is nothing to predict. If the things are going with the equation, nothing to predict. But in here, he says that it says that yt totally depend on the noise. In that case, this is the noise, right? This is the area. This is the area where this person can be placed any of this place. Any of this place, right? That is the noise. We don't know exactly where it will be at next time step, right? That's what we are saying, that in the random walk, the next time step totally depend on the noise. Then what is this delta yt is actually yt minus yt minus 1. That is delta t, right? You know what is the delta t, right? Delta t, sorry, delta y equal y sub t minus y sub t minus 1. That is delta t, in the sense this portion. Then the delta t, t minus t minus 1. Then it's equal to the noise. Then we can actually fine tune this formula like this: yt equal yt minus 1 plus noise term. That is called random formula. That's right. Okay. In here, once the person in here, this is t minus 1. If this is the t, if this is the t, this is t minus 1, right? Then this is yt, this is yt minus 1. Then this is exactly right, right? Then yt, the person could be somewhere else at yt, totally depend on the previous time step, y minus 1, and this noise, right? Out of this noise, it is actually normally distributed. We can randomly pick either value, then it would be the next time step. Simply that, right? That's what it called yt equal y sub t minus 1 plus error or the noise. This is the noise, right? This is noise. He could be anywhere on this line, anywhere on this line, but there is a probability. There is a probability. Then that's the yt. This is the yt equal to yt minus 1, this place, previous step, and the probability. Then we randomly pick one probability and we place it. That's called simulating. Actually, in the simulation process, that's exactly what we are doing, right? Then that is the random walk. Actually, I have put some code here to get somewhat of idea about this random walk, right? Suppose we have 1,000 time steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 1,000. And initially, the initial value I set to 5, y underscore 0, which means that initial value, suppose in here, right? It could be 5. This could be 5 with respect to our example, right? This could be 5. Then this last time would be 1,000. Sorry for my handwriting. Actually, it's difficult to write with this whiteboard. Okay, right. Then I have actually one variable and one list. The variable is yt underscore 1, t minus 1 actually, right? Then I initially set it to y0, right? T minus 1. Then I'm going to, what happened, or I'm going to predict what happened is yt, right? Then I am setting an array where, because of I have 1,000 time step, that array or list could be length of 1,000 time step. Then I'm just use for loop to get it. Then I said that this is that epsilon component, where this is our equation yt minus 1 plus epsilon. Then actually I am getting random value, normally distributed random value, 0, 1 value, and I add it to yt minus 1, then we can get the y. We can get that y. Then in here like this is the yt minus 1, and this give me the random value from this line somewhere. It could be here, 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 whatever. Sorry, random value. Then once we get the random value, once I get the random value and I add up it to this, then I'll go to either here, here, likewise. It's randomly picked. Then I store this value in this array or list. Then I set this value as the previous value. Then I'm going to plot it. Once you plot it, you can get something like this. Actually, you can try this. Once I run it again, see, you can get another trajectory because it's totally random. Then if I run it again, see, it's different path. Then if I run it again, see, it's another different path, right? This is what actually random walk. Why we discussing this random walk actually? What's the purpose of discussing this random walk? Actually, if you, because in this ARIMA model, basically three terms are there. One is AR model, autoregressive model. Autoregressive model in the sense, we totally depend on the previous data in order to predict the next value, next time step, what happened in the next time step. The second one is moving average model, where we totally depend on previous error component. The error component in the sense, what is the predicted value and what is the actual value and what is the difference between them. Based on this error component, we are going to predict the next time step, that is moving average. Then this integrated part comes into picture, that's represented by I. Then if you have only I component, it's like a random walk. It's like a random walk, where based on the previous time steps, there is a noise. Then we pick random value from this noise. Then based on that, we are moving to the next time step, right? It just based on the previous time step and the noise component. Based on that, we are going to the next time step in this diagram from here to here. But in the AR model, what we are doing is from here to here, we are considering set of past data to identify the next time, what happened next. From here to here, what happened in the AR model, we have to consider past set of data point, T data points. In the moving average model, we have to consider the error component of this past Q data points in order to predict the next time step. In integrated part or random walk, we just consider the previous one and the noise. Good. Okay. Then, right. Then let's try this ARIMA in code, right? How do we implement it in the code base? Let's try, right? Because I said in the previous C, up to now, the ultimate goal of this lecture is to familiar with ARIMA model. There we have basically three components. One is AR, other one is MA, third one is integrated one, I. AR for autoregressive, MA for moving average, I for integrated, which means the differencing, or in other words, in the coding example, it's a random walk process, right? Then let's see how do we incorporate all these, the things that we discuss up to now using Python code. I'm using in here the same data set that throughout the series I have used this. Then to get somewhat of understanding, I print a DF head to get somewhat of understanding. Then I plot it what if what happened to the data set? Actually, there is some seasonal component as well as trending as well. Then you all know, because you all are familiar with this diff and np log and things, I just get this first differencing, because previously I discussed with differencing term with the I, then I want the differencing, then I just get the first differencing in here into database, sorry, for the data frame with the column name first difference diff, and I get the log observation. You know that because there was a term called stationary. In order to data set to be stationary, actually we have to go with removing trend and seasonality. Once you refer this, there are trend, then in order to remove it, we have to go with the stationary process. In that is stationary techniques, there are multiple techniques. One of that is getting the log. That's what I just get these two to the simplicity and the easiness of my code base, right? Okay, then right now our data frame is like this. This is the exact observation or raw data. Then this is the first differencing. You can see once we get the first differencing, the very first value is none, because there is no any previous value to subtract. In that case, it is none. Then the log observation, we just get the log observation, sorry, log value of this of the observation in logs observation, right? Then you can just import this ARIMA model from these stat models. Then this is also familiar for you, and this code is also familiar to you because we discussed the same thing in the last lecture as well, where n equal to L, in the sense we are going to forecast or predict what happened in the next, this is month interval, right? Next 12 months. Then this is the training data, this is testing data. Then up to last 12 data points, all previous data, we are collecting as a training data, and the last 12 data points I'm considering as the testing data. Then this is for easiness of my code base, I am setting these indexes, and in order to create my final data frame. And let's try with the AR model. AR with 1 in the sense P is 1, which means I just consider previous time points. Only one previous time point. Based on that, I can go like this. ARIMA, this model is called train. I'm go with the observations, and order is 1 0 0, which means P is 1, Q is, sorry, D is 0 and Q is 0. In that case, it is automatically become AR model, right? You can see in here. In the note, see, once I component and Q component become 0, it automatically become AR process, right? This is how it's simulated in here. This is AR process. AR process with order 1, right? I'm not explaining this code. I explained it in previous lecture as well. Then I'm going to plot it with observation against AR1. Let's see what happened. See, this is training data, right? See, it's actually, what do you think? Is it fitted with training data? No, actually it's just lagging by 1, the real data. That's only, you can see, that's only thing, it's lagging by 1, that's all. Then see, it's at actually I mentioned in here, it has just copied the previous value. That's what happened in here with the AR1, which means autoregressive with order 1. It's just copying the previous value into the next value. That's only happened in here, right? Then let's see with the forecasting, right? Then in here, it's actually training the data, training the model with the observation, right? We train the model and we plot what happened in the training data. It's actually just copying the previous value to the next. That's only happened. Then let's see with the forecasting, because we are going to n number of forecasting, n in the sense 12. Then we are going to forecast next 12 months what happened from 2007, I think it's January, February, March, whatever, anyhow, right? Then I'm going to forecast next 12 months with this model. Then let's see what happened in the forecasting. Yes, exactly. You can see it is not identifying any pattern of this one, any trend or seasonality. It just go downwards. It's horrible. With the AR, with order 1 is fail. But there we have many more options, right? We have many more options. We just try with the AR model because we are going with the ARIMA model, autoregressive integrated moving average. In that case, right now, you know how do we simulate with the AR only, right? Actually, you can play around with this 1 and then you can go with the 2, 3, 4, 5, what happened? You can check it, right? It's totally up to you. You can play around with this code, borrow this code, and you can play around it, right? To check whether what happened with this, what is called past data points. Once we consider only one data point, what happened? Once we consider 2 data point, what happened? Once we consider 3 data point, what happened? Things like that you can play around. Right. So in order to do the same thing, actually, I have defined this function because it's easy so to do the rest of our lecture. Here, I get, because our data is observation, then I set it as a data, original data, and that this is the training data, and these are the testing, forecasting, and I am getting this confident interval to check whether the variation, what happened in between that, right? This is what how you can get the confident interval. There is a function for this. Then lower and upper, this the lower value and upper value of this observation variable will be returned, and I grab it to these two variables called lower and upper. Then I put it to here, something like this, right? Then once I set this, I use this function to make the forecasting. Then I pass this ARIMA res, which means actually I get it in here. See, once I set this AR1 model and these results I get, because once I fit the model, I get this results object, ARIMA results, then I pass it to here. Once I pass it to here, there is a fitted value and all other things are available there. Then I get this and I put this. The same diagram you can see with this variation. You can see it's not fitted well, right? Then I try it with AR with 10, which means 10 past data points I am considering to model the sequence and predict next 12 data points, right? Then what happened? Let's see. Actually, you can see that there is slight improvement, right? See, this is the forecasting one. It's slight different. Actually, it's slight tally with this model. He is trying to identify the patterns of model with the AR10. That's what I previously say. You can play around with the difference value of this AR, which means previous data points, then so that you can identify what happened, right? Then that's the AR. Then let's see with the MA model, which means moving average model. Comparing that error component instead of previous data point, here we are considering error component. In that case, you just use the same with just changing these parameters only. Then there is no P value, there is no I value, only Q value. Because in the ARIMA model, if you set P to 0, D to 0, and set some non-zero value to Q value, it automatically become a moving average model, right? Then once you plot it, you can see that nothing happened. It's just a flat line. With the error component itself, you are unable to do anything. But you can test, you can play around with multiple values for this model, like MA1, MA5, MA10, MA12, even more. You can test it, right? But with the MA1, actually, I just want to demonstrate the way of doing that, right? That's what I just put the one in here, and I'm showing that what happened there, right? You can play around it, right? That's why how we are discussing about autoregressive and the moving average. Right now, let's go with differencing the I component, the D, right? Okay, right now we have this data set, first difference in log observation and AR1, right? because we go with the AR1. I added it to that data frame to get somewhat of understanding here. Then I just plot what is the first differencing. You can see actually we plotted it the previous, oh yeah, previous lecture actually. No, I think in the stationary process, very first lecture. There you can see actually it's getting trend is vanished, but there is a variance, right? There is a variance. It is getting increased here. Anyhow, let's see what happened. Then I alter this existing function, this function, right? This function a little bit more in order to add the D component, which means integrated component, right? Then in here, what happened actually, these columns are actually I passed the columns itself, because in that integrated part, we are unable to just work with the observation raw data itself in this column itself. Instead, we have to pass first differencing, log observation, and etc. In that case, I make it as a variable, the passing column. Then I get it to here, and I set the label. That same code, right? Same code in here. I just make it as a variable. Instead of observation, I pass it as a variable to the function, as a parameter to the function. Then I use it as a variable here, right? Then in the training data, previously in this code, what happened? In the predict, we just get the fitted value because there is no any differencing component, right? But right now we have the differencing in the sense that you can see right, see, very first value is none, the very first row is none. In that case, we have to remove that one, right? Otherwise it would be a mess in this forecasting model, because none value can't able to forecast and we have to remove it. In that case, we have to remove this very first line, right? If the differencing is 2, these first 2 rows would be null, then you want to remove it. That's what I make it as a parameter in this model. Yeah, let's go. That's what I set it as a parameter. The differencing is a parameter. In that case, you can get the training data from there onwards, from differencing onward to the last value. Then the plotting is also starting from this differencing value and after all, right? Like that. And forecasting the n numbers, then I am getting the lower and upper, the same confident interval and things like that. Then the predicted mean and so on and so forth. Then let's see with the ARIMA model, full ARIMA model, full ARIMA model, not only AR model individually and not MA model individually. Right now we are going with the AR, MA with integrated part itself. In that case, I'm still, sorry. Very first I try with the ARIMA with 811, which means I'm considering past 8 data points time step as a P. Then the differencing is 1. Then I am differencing the time series by 1. Then the moving average is 1, which means previous 1 error component. I consider it. Then I say pass it like this. Then I pass the observation only, the raw data. That's what I set it. Model with raw data, but differencing 1. Then I pass these variables there. This is the results. Then differencing would be 1. Then my column is observation. Then let's see. Actually, it's quite good, but not better, right? It's quite good, but not better. Then I try with model with log data, because in here you can see in the first differencing, it's vanishing the trend. Log differencing I didn't put it. Anyhow, right. So let's try with yes, here log differencing. I pass the column as a log value, but other thing are same. Only change is the column, right? The log column. That in that case, actually, it's the difference of this is little bit lower, right, compared with previous. But it is actually underestimate. Actually, underestimate compared with previous. The underestimation is minimizing, right? Okay, good. Then let's try with another with I have increased the P into 12, which means past 12 data points I am considering with the lag 1, difference in 1, and there is no any moving average part. There is no any moving average part, and I am consider the raw data, raw observation. Let's see. It's actually pretty much good. It's go with these peaks well, but in here you can see it's there is some issues as well. Anyhow, compare with the previous, little bit improvement can be seen, right? Little bit improvement can be seen. Then I tune the parameter again with the log data. Similar thing as previous two, like these two here. The difference is minimal. Difference is minimal. Likewise in here also that the difference is minimal. That's only we can see, right? Then but it's pretty much good right now, right? That log observation with differencing 1, there is no moving average. Then actually the visually it will be little bit difficult to identify that, get the clear picture, but in the presentation perspective it's good. But we have several evaluation matrices, right? We discuss them. Then I use this root mean squared error to check the data, or what happened to this, right? Then I use it here. It's whether it's a log function, I export, get the exponential of it, then set it as, and likewise this all four model, I get this statistics to check whether. Then you can see actually the ARIMA model with 811 with the raw data, the root mean squared error is almost 4, but it comes to log data, it's almost 4. You can see that, but this is less 4, but it is higher. And when it comes to the 1210, you can see it become very low, right? Then the model is very good right now. And once you go with the log data with the same parameters, actually it even good. Likewise, actually you can play around with this data, right? These models. Then you can use 1211 and 1215, then what happened and things like that. So that's the way you have to use with this ARIMA model. So in this ARIMA model, as a summary, what we have discussed is it's the way of modeling the time series, where we have basically 3 components. One is AR autoregressive and moving average, as well as integrated part. In the autoregressive part, we are considering past data points in order to predict what happened next. In the moving average model, what we are doing is we are considering past error component in order to predict the next. In the integrated part, or it's just sorry, it's just a random walk where the previous time step with noise component, we are moving to the next step. Then once we combine all these 3 together, all those 3 together, it becomes ARIMA model, where autoregressive integrated moving average. Then integrated part is the differencing, where you are differencing the time series, use the lag or difference in the time series in order to make the time series altered, right? Then we code them. We actually practice a random walk with the coding example, then ARIMA model with the difference parameter. Prior to that, actually we test AR model and then MA model. Then how do we make the parameter tuning and so on and so forth. After that, we finally go with the ARIMA model with the full parameters with P, D, and Q. Then we discuss with the log data, and we go with the first differencing. Then ultimately we tested and we get the we use the matrices, root mean, squared error to get that numerical statistics to validate or compare the models. Then finally, what you have to do is you can play around with this data, this model. Then it's totally depend on the data set, right? Then finding the P, D, and Q totally depend on the data, but we will discuss them in the later on lectures, right? So to identify this P, D, and Q. So for today lecture, that's all. So practice this and get better understanding, right? So thank you very much all.